Hello, hello. This is Christina Barn. You're watching Black Tea News. Hello, hello. Welcome to Black Tea News. I'm your host, Christina Barr, and today we will be talking about Kamala Harris, who's the worst. Yesterday, she visited an abortion clinic, and everyone's like, oh, she's the first VP to visit an abortion clinic, and so historic. Yeah, and it's pretty gross and really signifies where the Democrat Party has headed in the direction that they're going, where it's just embrace, embrace, embrace abortion rather than the safe, legal, and rare. So we'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about and I did a little investigation with that, which wasn't too hard to do, but I just wanted to make something clear. So I will be talking about her. Also, Fani Willis, her boyfriend, Nathan Wade, has stepped down after they ruled that one of them had to step down, and which one of them already should have stepped down with all this drama. And I did not think it would be her. I did not think it would be her. She should have stepped down earlier. Um, Talking about the Georgia case with Donald Trump, she should have stepped down earlier, but I didn't figure she would, because she didn't seem like that type of chick. But her boyfriend has stepped down, and I think all these cases, we'll see what happens, or if any of them really kind of end up going to trial before the election. Because this whole situation is a mess. But she probably sees it as a win, maybe, but it doesn't look good. Also, there's some drama with these. I told you guys about how in Haiti they had a big organized prison break, and it's chaos in the country. Actually, Mitch Albom, he's a best-selling author, and he's a big radio host, known, I guess, nationally, but he's native of Michigan. He was actually in Haiti because he has like a charity out there, and he got, I guess, out, but he's said he was lucky to get out. I don't have a ton of information about that, but I just heard that. So there's just Americans who were in danger with all this kind of going on, and it's a really big mess. But there are some migrants from Haiti trying to come over, and in Florida they stopped quite a few of them. And but man, there was a someone on some drama with Elon Musk and some people on Twitter. And I just got to show you a very odd conversation. So we'll get to that in a second. We'll hit that first. Oh, thank you, Tina. Thank you. I got this from Tori. This is one of my favorite stories. um yeah, so before we jump into everything, I want to encourage you guys to go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles, videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at blacktnews.com/donate, because it does cost a stream. You run my website, all that stuff, so you guys can support. I very much appreciate it. You guys can also support by checking out different merchandise that we have available at blacktnews.com, like this shirt, Pro-Choice Men Are Sus. It's one of my favorite things to say. And sus stands for suspect, because a lot of motivations talking to some of these pro-choice dudes is just I wonder why you're pro-choice, sir. And seems pretty self-serving. Then there's these mugs. We got different mugs and other teas you guys can check out on the site as well. This Make Crack Whack Again Trump 2024 shirt, which is some people might assume that's about Hunter and stuff, but actually I made that after a story with a Biden administration giving out like crack pipes or something like that. So anyway, you guys can check out different merch available at the store. Also, I encourage you guys to check out some of my books. You guys can find them on Amazon if you just search my name, Christina Elbar. And I have 2 nonfiction and the rest are fiction. So I encourage you guys to check out my stuff. Okay, so this first thing I want to point out, my sister actually called me not too long ago to make sure that I had seen this. So oh boy. So in Haiti again, as I just mentioned, they had a big organized like jailbreak, and a lot of bad people have escaped, and there's some really bad guys in charge and running amok. One of them is a cannibal who says his name is Barbecue. I guess that's a street name. And so folks were talking about it online and stuff. And someone in particular was coming at Elon Musk for, well, there were some articles about Elon Musk because they were spreading like some concerns about all this, and they're like, you know what, we don't want to risk any cannibal people coming to the US. And so NBC wrote a story about misinformation or whatever that was being spread by the online right. So let me just take you to the thread a little bit. Let me share my screen for you guys. So Ian Miles Chong first wrote about it, or at least had a screenshot here of what was going down. So screenshot: Elon Musk and right-wing influencers use cannibal claims to smear Haitian migrants amid crisis. As Haiti endures a political crisis fomented by widespread violence, right-wing influencers are resurfacing gruesome propaganda videos to advance their immigration agenda. And I it they do pretty much validate that there are cannibal people. So it's a weird kind of I don't know, spin that they're doing here. But anyway, you said NBC News just published an article attacking Elon Musk and right-wing influencers for smearing Haitians by bringing up their little problem with cannibal gangs. The media is really pushing the narrative that Haitian mass migration will be good for America, and you're a bad person if you don't think so. And so some of the spin is like, well, they're just, are they really cannibals, or is it just kind of like trying to freak you out like they're cannibals? Yeah, like, yeah, there's stuff of people eating people, but like biting people. But let's just be like, no, we're good. You know, we don't want to find out. We just don't want to find out. You need to be stopped, but you definitely don't need to come here. We could just have that energy, in my opinion. So Elon Musk said, if wanting to screen my immigrants for potential homicidal tendencies and cannibalism makes me right wing, then I would gladly accept such a label. Failure to do so would put innocent Americans in mortal risk. Shame on NBC. Shame, shame, shame. So then we got to this beauty of a tweet from Brian Crasserston. What's so bad about eating people? We eat cows, right? People are cleaner than cows, right? And I don't know. I don't know about that, bruh. Are you not cleaner than a cow? um so what's bad about eating people? Well, we could start with I'm going to assume most people aren't giving their consent to be consumed. So there's that. I'm going to assume that's the case. I'm assuming there's not a lot of people on their deathbed that's like, I know some people are like, give my body to science or something, are cool with that. They're cool with, like, you know, their livers or their kidneys or their heart going to someone who may need it, you know, to keep them alive. I'm just not aware of many people saying, hey, please give my body to the cannibals. I just haven't seen that kind of market. It's not, you know, when you go to the Secretary of State, they definitely don't tell you that that's an option on your driver's license, you know, because they have the little donor thing on the back. So I've never seen, please give me to the cannibals. I've never seen that. And if that's somehow implied in the little donor checkbox thing, um, you're definitely not gonna have the option to get my heart because I'm like, no, you're not eating me, sir, ma'am, whoever's hungry out there. So, um, so I just think it's safe to assume that if people are being cannibals, that they're going like Dahmer, that they're straight up murdering folks. So, I assume that's bad. Um, Intuitively, you would assume that people would feel that's kind of bad. It's illegal at the very least. So yeah, so that I hope that answers the question there. Someone pointed out that there's things within humans that if you eat them, basically it would mess up your brain or your mind or your body, kind of relative to like mad cow disease. So there's some bad benefits. Oh, well, some negative side effects, not bad benefit. I won't use the word benefit, just side effects to if you want to go that route. I don't know. I haven't really looked much into the science of eating people. You know, admittedly. So I'm just gonna stick to the first point, really. That is bad. But I suppose if you say it's bad to eat cows, why can't we eat humans if we because clearly we eat cows. Well, not everybody does, and some people find it unethical. If you go that route and you don't think that there's much moral value difference between an animal like a cow and a human being, I guess it's you can ask those kinds of questions, and there's people out there who do think we're on the same scale, kind of. Now, I think most people who think that there's still like value in both, and maybe that they're both equal, would say let's not eat anyone or anything. I think that's most people's route that they go. But if you're going the route that yeah, if we used to eat cows, we should be able to eat people, eat everybody, and it doesn't matter one way or like there's no sanctity in anything. Um, that's a very drastic, strange, immoral sort of worldview, but I guess there's some consistency there if you're a godless society. But I think he's saying such things for clicks, though. Someone had pointed out an old tweet. I guess he came at somebody for saying, "LOL, you literally said I eat children." Like that's a ridiculous thing. And so then they paired it up with this new tweet of what's so bad about eating people. So yeah, you gotta be careful what you say online. Yeah, Soylent Green is people. Um, yeah. But my sister said I hope it's for clicks. I think it is for clicks, but he poses questions and wants people to respond. He's a when my sister first told me, she said Brian, she said the name correctly, but my mind immediately went to the actor who's in Breaking Bad. His name is Bryan Cranston, and I'm just like, he said what? So when I was like, oh, this guy, he says things to generate, conversations, and some of the takes are more outlandish than others. So this is, engagement farming, but maybe he's curious for people's actual answers. And if you do live, if you do want to have the worldview that there really is no significant, difference between humans and animals like cows, and um that we really don't matter. There's no kind of sanctity of human life, and our rights and all those things aren't inherent, you know, natural or coming from some kind of creator. And all of our rights are just kind of things that we socially negotiate. I suppose anything's on the table, including you. including you. So so maybe he's looking for interesting comments and knowing that uh I don't know, but he's had some wild takes. Some people are posting some wild takes that he's had in the past, like there was a naked guy who was like on a bicycle during the Pride parade in somewhere, and he said seeing a man naked on a bike isn't going to have much of an impact on any kid. They have likely seen their father or brother naked before. Uh I am happy to say I have not seen either. I haven't seen a naked guy on a bike, but I haven't seen my brother and my dad naked, and I you know, happy about that. Um but yeah, just being indecent like that. Um I'd prefer not. I didn't actually see a naked man until I was how I guess I was 18, and I was in art school, and we had a drawing class. So he was a model, and we did a few females first, and then one day he was just waiting in the art room, and he was maybe late. He's probably in his 50s. Um, very expressive, and I was, like everyone's just kind of like, oh, because they knew I was pretty bashful, and I'm like, this is my first naked man. And when I told my dad that, he was very upset. He was like, they could put on some shorts or something, so no, people don't just think it's normal for their kids to just see naked humans all the time, especially, in the US and stuff. So no, it's, I just don't think that's a thing that we should just be like, you know what, it's totally fine if there's naked man riding bicycles in the street. So those are the kind of takes that you got from him. But he makes decent money on Twitter for engagement. He knows how to get the people's talking. So anyway, back to this Haiti situation. Um in Florida, they actually stopped a boat carrying 25 Haitian migrants, according to DeSantis. So this was posted like 3 hours ago. This is from a local, I guess, Florida news site. Governor Ron DeSantis said the boat carrying 25 Haitians was stopped off Florida's coast as law enforcement resources have been deployed to stop possible migrants coming from the island nation that's experiencing a spike in violence and turmoil. DeSantis made an announcement at a news conference in Polk County Friday, where he signed 3 pieces of legislation that he said are aimed at deterring illegal immigration. According to DeSantis, Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission officers within the past couple of weeks stopped the vessel near Sebastian Inlet, where they were carrying 25 people from Haiti. On board the boat, officers found drugs, guns, and night vision gear, DeSantis said. The news comes days after DeSantis announced he'd ordered more than 250 law enforcement officers to the Florida Keys to help stop what he anticipates will be an increase in Haitian migrants fleeing violence in their country. In recent days, Haiti was witnessed a series of gang attacks that have paralyzed the country, forcing thousands of people from their homes, especially in the capital city of Port-au-Prince, where the port and the airport remain closed. The armed gang seized power in much of Port-au-Prince following the 2021 assassination of President Jovenel Moise, and now control about 80% of the city. The group sent the keys includes a mix of the group sent to the keys that include a mix of Florida Department law enforcement and FWC officers, along with members of the Florida National Guard and the Florida State Guard. The state will also deploy 4 helicopters, a plane, 8 Seacraft, and drones to help stop to help them stop from coming in. Given the situation that's happening in Haiti, some brutal reports that are happening. We want to make sure that we're protecting Floridians. DeSantis said Friday. The Coast Guard has oh gosh, said 131 migrants found at sea to Haiti since October 1st, including 65 on Tuesday, who were found on a boat near the Bahamas last week, according to the news release. So, I'm glad he's on the case. I'm glad, they have a Republican in office who is very competent at his job and takes the immigration crisis pretty seriously. I think that if he, you know, if things had worked out with him as far as being the nominee, which it didn't, and Trump, like, just trounced everybody, he'd be pretty serious about the subject. But I believe that Trump gets back in and you'll start seeing some competency at the border. I don't know how much damage he can reverse, but he can definitely at least slow things up or pump the brakes on a lot of stuff coming in. And I wonder how much he'll be opposed, like he was opposed in his first term, but it's gotta, they gotta go hard. And I don't think he's gonna deport as many people as people think, but this is a bad situation. And I don't want crazy folks getting it. I don't want people illegally getting it anyway. But we just don't know who's coming in, and there's a lot of crazy stuff around the world. People say, well, what about all these people who are in danger from their governments breaking down? And it's actually not safe, because the people in Haiti aren't safe in this situation. And that's true. So the question is, well, there's just like, do you guys remember back in like Bush days or after Bush days, that people were just kind of fed up with like America policing the world? They're just like, we're kind of done with that. We're over that, and all this big populist kind of movement started happening in the US. And it on the right, but there's also plenty of people on the left who are just kind of like, we're done with like policing the world or whatever. So there's instead of policing the world, there's this idea that, okay, well, we can't solve all the problems out there and we're gonna like really dial back. But at the same time, people want the world to sort of flood into the US and take on the cause a different way. And that's obviously not a good answer. So I don't think I'm not saying I want troops on the ground in Haiti or something like that, but there's got to be some kind of balance or some kind of mid answer with supporting some kind of stability over there without feeling obligated to have to take in everybody, because that's something I definitely don't want. So they just got to figure it out, man. They got to figure it out. But we cannot y'all didn't want us to solve all the world's problems or try that. That's fine, but you can't just let everybody spill into America, and then one day we'll be the country with the cannibals running around, being led by Bryan Cranston. So we gotta do something to protect our border and try to keep America as America for the good that it is right now, anyway. So really quickly, I'm going to talk about this Fani Willis situation and move on. So she's been in hot water for a minute, apparently, from what I've heard from people pretty closer in the situation, or have their ear to the ground with like Trump folks and stuff. And they've had some of this information on Fani and her relationship with Nathan Wade, and they were planning to use it, as soon as there was an opportune moment. So this lawsuit, these allegations to try to get them all kicked off this case and stuff was, and it's pretty remarkable. There's you'll see, Fani try to use the black card, and other people try to use a black card to try to defend her for, her inappropriate relationship with Nathan Wade and appointing him to be on the case, and them lying about when their relationship started and their trips and together, and the inappropriate behavior. And there are people who are standing for her, who will support her, but in the professional world, people are just kind of like, how could you just really blow the most important case of your life, this incredible job that you were able to attain, and just over some really dumb stuff, over some really really dumb stuff. So, um, the judge, I guess people are defining as kind of splitting the baby, um, feeling that, I guess, the case wasn't really made to throw everything out, but they did feel the case was made, that there's some kind of impropriety there. So they said the court concludes that the prosecution of this case cannot proceed until state selects one or two options. The district attorney may choose to step aside along with the whole of her office and refer the prosecution of the prosecuting attorney's counsel for reassignment. Alternatively, SADA Wade can withdraw, allowing the district attorney, the defendants, and the public to move forward without his presence. And that's what he decided to do. So he already put in his I guess resignation or whatever, announced he was stepping aside, which they obviously could have did sooner, but I knew she wasn't gonna do it. I knew the only way to get rid of her was to kick her off. I would have been so surprised you stepped aside. Again, she didn't seem like that kind of chick. If she's bold enough to be this dumb, thinking that she get to live her life any kind of way with her little boy toy, I did not expect for her to step aside. So I'm not surprised that he did. But even if they go forward with the case, if there's some kind of appeal, it just really sets them in a place where things aren't going to look great. Now, I've seen some people on Fox News are like, oh, well, even if she's on it, excuse me, she's just terrible. She's trashing the court of public opinion. And, well, maybe to your viewers and a lot of people out there, and even like, again, professionals would think that her situation is just ridiculous. But as far as like her reputation being so trash that people are looking at, people are coming against Trump and being so unfair or whatever, I don't I don't know if there's enough people who are on that sort of train, that it who weren't already on that train, to make a difference. But we'll see. Because I'm assuming this puts a wrench as far as in their timetable. So I don't know that this case was going to be like done right before the election, pretty much. Wasn't it like August or something? And I don't know if that will or won't happen. But a lot of this stuff seems to be falling apart. Trump really is blessed. Trump is really, really blessed. And not just because he has a lot of money, not just because he's like naturally charismatic or he knows how to market himself. It's because he has just terrible enemies, just absolutely terrible. With Fani Willis here, and the likes of Joe Biden, Trump appears to be leading and the kind of the favorite right now, pulling ahead, and is ahead in swing states. And that's one reason why Biden is appealing so hard to the Hamas caucus and to the very left wing of his base on foreign policy, as far as Israel, Gaza, and other stuff like that. I don't think that's going to, in the end, help him very much, trying to win the enthusiasm of a lot of people who probably don't vote anyway, or maybe do vote, but aren't as reliable, some of the moderates that you're ticking off. So he's crazy. I I don't know what's up with that old man. I don't know what's up with that old man, but he's it's not looking like he's going to win. The best shot the Democrats do have is just blatantly replacing him. But if they replace him with someone like Gretchen Whitmer, I think the Democrats would have a far better shot. But I don't know if something like that will happen, because if they do replace him, the heir apparent is obviously his vice president. And she's kind of the worst, right? She's been the worst. Joe Biden can't talk, he mumbles, he forgets. Kamala Harris, she'll go into a speech and it's like circular sort of conversations, and she could, sound, you know, stern or have go girl moments when it was like in soundbite snippets when she was in the Senate, but she's just not, she wasn't ready for prime time. That was pretty evident, like when she was running for president, and people like Tulsi Gabbard just like annihilated her. But it's she's very vulnerable, and now that doesn't mean people won't support her. Like people could put a lot of stuff aside and be like, "Oh, yes, our black, female president. Oh, I got my chucks and my pearls." People's attitudes can change very fast, on her. So maybe she's the end, maybe she's the doom or whatever. But as it stands right now, she's just not great at her job. Um, so I want to talk about her going to this abortion clinic, and we're going to listen to the snippet of her talking about this stuff. And people are like, "Oh yeah, she's the first um, VP to go to to visit an abortion clinic," and yeah, because not too long ago, safe, legal, and rare was the mantra of the Democrats. That was their thing. Safe, legal, and rare. That's what they pushed. Not too long ago, Joe Biden said an abortion is a tragedy. And they still want it available, but they still viewed it as a tragedy, like a thing that women did in a dire situation. And they have that dire situation narrative reserved for like women who do late term abortions, which that isn't true. I mean, there are women who have them for later, who do have sad circumstances. That doesn't mean that they're worth killing over. um but some people just find out they're pregnant late, or get the money late, or they broke up with their boyfriend, or they just drag their feet. um Sometimes people respond with, "You just think women are having abortions for funsies?" I don't think it's for funsies, but even if you feel bad about it, that doesn't make it okay. Just because you were struggling with the issue, with the morality of it, and you feel bad that it's happening, but that should tell you something, right? If it didn't mean anything, and you weren't struggling with the moral ramifications of what you were doing, then you know we can, there's something wrong with it. I know there's something wrong with that. That's why you don't want people to think that you just did it all willy-nilly, like you're some kind of serial murderer. But regardless how you feel about it, like we know that you just took a life, so it doesn't make it better that you felt bad that you did it, you know. So I think that's a odd sort of line that people throw at you. But let's see what she had to say when she went to this clinic um down in Minnesota. Now, the thing about Minnesota is that Keith Ellison uh is out against um pregnancy crisis centers, and has issued different statements about them, and doesn't like them, doesn't want them to be operating, and thinks they're, I don't know, propaganda, etc., whatever. He said stuff about him. You had Whitmer doesn't like him. Her office, didn't want to help them. Vetoed money out of the budget that was supposed to go to pregnancy crisis centers. You have Elizabeth Warren, who was mad because where she's from, they outnumber clinics, 3 to 1 or 2 to 1. I think it's 3 to 1. And they have this um they detest these places that are supposed to help women decide to not have the abortion. So these are pretty wild places. And I think it's a big sort of statement, I guess doing this at all. She's like during a tour and deciding that this is where she was going to go at all and in this state. I don't know. It says a lot to me, but let's
So many of you have asked, why am I here at this facility in particular? And I will tell you, it is because right now in our country, we are facing a very serious health crisis. And the crisis is affecting many, many people in our country, most of whom are frankly silently suffering. After the United States Supreme Court took a constitutional right that had been recognized from
so it's already things I gotta correct. So um suffering in silence. You mean like the babies they're murdering? Um First comment. Also did not have a constitutional right to an abortion. That wasn't a thing. So there's that. I understand why people think that, but she's smart enough to know better. She's just lying to you. And gosh, what was the other thing? Oh, healthcare is preventative or it's restorative. She's also, they're going to use phrases like reproductive rights. I'll try not to interrupt there and just go ahead and say, by the time you want an abortion, reproduction has actually happened. That's why people want the abortion. That's why people want the abortion, because someone has been produced. So, this phrasing of reproductive health care, the baby is alive. That's why you want the abortion, because you don't want it to be. So, if healthcare is restorative or preventative, them giving out birth control, that's preventative. Fair enough. Doing abortions is not preventative. You're not preventing a human being from existing. You're, just unaliving them. You're not preventing them from being born, because birth is just an exit of the birth canal. So an abortion is actually a forced abortion. I mean, forced birth to a dead baby. That's what it is. Like once you're pregnant, like the birth process is gonna happen. Unless you got twins and one of them dies and reabsorbs into the other, unless it's like a situation like that, but someone's, still coming through in that scenario. But you're gonna pass that baby through. So you can't, birth is inevitable at this point. So what, you're not preventing anything when you go ahead and you have the abortion. And it's not restorative. You could say, well, they're just restoring them to what? Like because women being pregnant is part of their natural bodily process. If a woman can't get pregnant, that's maybe she doesn't want to. So I'm not saying people have to have kids and that's like has to be the normal thing or whatever. But if your body cannot produce children, then something is wrong. Like women being able to produce children and have children, the reproduction process is natural. And to think that just inherently not being pregnant is the natural, healthy thing that your body, way your body's supposed to be, as Equal Rights Institute says, that's a pretty misogynistic view to think that the optimal health, healthy way your body's supposed to be, or bodies are supposed to be, is not pregnant. Like I don't know, a man can never be pregnant or something. So no, it's not you're restoring you to health. I mean, there's different health complications that can arise while you are pregnant, sure, but being pregnant is not something that is bad. It may be something you don't like, uh, but it's not restorative. It's not preventative. It's not really healthcare. My line that I usually say, I mean, I like the route that equal rights goes. They'll bring up those 2 points. But I'll usually just ask the question, how healthy is the baby after the abortion? How healthy is the baby after the abortion? And then people will probably get mad and say it's not a baby. So I said that line today, by the way, and I said offspring, so I could be as least controversial as possible, and people were still mad that I used the word offspring. I'm like, I just can't win with you people. You're just too sensitive about this, man. We all know that the Planned Parenthood knows they kill babies. Like, you can find pamphlets when they're describing abortion, like it kills babies. They use that language. They don't use it today because it's not PC, but they know what they do.
From the people of America, from the women of America. In states around our country, extremists have proposed and passed laws that have denied women access to reproductive health care. And the stories abound. I've heard stories of and have met with women who had miscarriages in toilets, women who were being denied emergency care because the healthcare providers there at an emergency room were afraid that because of the laws in their state that they could be criminalized, sent to prison for providing health care.
There are people who are afraid or confused with different laws. That is true. Some of that confusion is, I would say, largely because of abortion propagandists. There could be confusing laws though, and we should put our heads together and try to um, minimize any sort of confusion. Absolutely, absolutely. But the issue is that people aren't trying to minimize confusion. They want to profit off of confusion and basically just completely open up the window for more babies to be aborted, like the Kate Cox situation. She was the woman out of Texas, um, who was at the State of the Union recently, but her story was big news. Even people on the right were like, "This was the wrong decision." I'm like, "How could it be the wrong decision? Like, she did not qualify for a medical emergency abortion under the Texas law, nor did her doctors argue that she did. They precisely said that she wasn't in imminent danger, and they used a good faith argument for her getting an abortion rather than using the reasonable medical judgment. And there's a difference. And they could have just said that yes, she needed it for her bodily preservation or her life and stuff, but that wasn't the case. She had a baby with a disability who doctors and stuff were telling that she would not live very long. So she wanted to, and she's had a couple of births, so she knows that she's going to have to, which they didn't want to induce, and she didn't want to have a C-section, which I don't blame her for not wanting a C-section. I mean, it's a rough situation. Don't get me wrong, but she does want to have another baby, so it is inevitable that she's going to have to probably have another C-section, because after you have them, the doctors, not that you need to have one. I'm not a doctor, but it's, my sister's been through this a couple times. They prefer to keep having them. So if she has another C-section, basically she would rather save it for, I suppose, a healthy child. So she's willing to kill her 20-week baby for a hypothetical one in the future that does not exist. So, and that's like was basically in the documents for the case that they were making. So if you're Texas and your laws are, it has to be like in a medical emergency, and they're making this different appeal and not even meeting the medical standards, how could they rule any differently? But they're using stories like that to say things like, oh well, when there's exceptions in the laws, they say there's exceptions for a mother's life, but then they don't even grant them. So we can't even have these bills that have just the exceptions because they're not still going to grant them. So we just have to have abortion be available. because there's every pro life law in the country has exceptions for the mother's life, but they're going to argue that that's not enough. We just need to have it available. Period. So we don't have like sincere actors trying to find some middle ground here. Kamala Harris is not like she doesn't want any kind of middle ground anyway. So I just and then that the 2 cents there.
So I'm here at this healthcare clinic to uplift the work that is happening in Minnesota as an example of what true leadership looks like, which is to understand it is only right and fair that people have access to the health care they need, and that they have access to health care in an environment where they are treated with dignity and respect. And please do understand that when we talk about a clinic such as this, it is absolutely about healthcare and reproductive healthcare. So everyone get ready for the language. Uterus. That part of the body needs a lot of medical care from time to time. Issues like fibroids. We can handle this. Breast cancer screenings. Contraception.
So breast cancer screening. So when they say breast cancer screenings, I want folks to know, because there used to be this wide belief or narrative about we need breast care screenings and we need Planned Parenthood for that. And some people even said that they needed mammograms. There's one actress who was on Little House of the Prairie. She was running for Senate, Sarah Gilbert, or is it Melissa Gilbert? I think it was Melissa Gilbert. She actually talked about Planned Parenthood and defended them and claimed that she had got like a mammary done at a Planned Parenthood. And I was working at MRP at Michigan Republican Party at the time. And when I heard that, I was excited because I knew it was a lie. Because Planned Parenthood doesn't. I don't know if at this point in time that none of them have machines, but I knew by then it had been debunked that they like didn't have those machines. And Cecile Richards, she's no longer the president. She hasn't been the president of Planned Parenthood for a while. I mean, unless they just changed something and brought her back. But as she was the president, but she eventually like testified in front of Congress that she's like, we don't have those machines. We've never had those machines, or we didn't say that they had those machines. And so people would still like push out like, Planned Parenthood, they do these breast screenings and stuff. So I actually called, I heard she was at this, she was in Minnesota. So I was Googling, started reading some stories, found out which clinic she was at, and I called them. I called them and asked, could I get it like a, did they do the mammary test? And they said they didn't have it. I said, oh, but I thought you guys did breast screenings. And so we do, but I'm like, so we'll do like referrals. I'm like, oh, so you just do when you feel for the lumps? And they said, yeah, that's what they do. And I'm not saying that's not important, but there are women clinics that will have the mammogram machines. So we could just do better investment in women clinics that have these things that Planned Parenthood doesn't have. Their focus, they are an abortion factory, and there was this big thing about Planned Parenthood, that's only like 3% of what they do, but they inflate their numbers. Like you'll go in for an abortion, but they'll give you birth control. Maybe they'll do a STD test or maybe a breast exam or whatever. So you going for your abortion, but they've made 3 different attachments, and so they count every service as an abortion. So you went in for specifically one thing, but all of a sudden that's just like a quarter of the reasons of why you win it, of the services that were provided to you. So that's how they inflate their numbers. But they are an abortion mill. That's what they are. But that's not the only thing they are. They are really into gender care now. There's some people who've gotten hormones very fast. There was one person who was a detransitioner who I followed. She had like a 30-minute conversation with Planned Parenthood on the phone, I think, and was able to get um hormones. So they provide that stuff. So be very careful about your kid going to Planned Parenthood for more than one reason. Now, they excuse me. So they do give out birth control and or have birth control and STD testing or STIs. You know, that's the more PC updated term, I guess. But they also are very active in sex education and different material and stuff that they put out or want people to use. And they've had some very creepy stuff come out. I have to show you guys another day. But yeah, Kamala Harris, she's like the worst women's advocate. I know people, I mean, people want to support women because they're women or whatever. But I just know that she somebody's side piece and kind of rose to prominence. She's not like enormously talented, and she doesn't deserve to be in that spot. And she basically was picked because Joe Biden said too many racist things, and a bunch of black people got together and said, if you want our vote, you better pick somebody black. And she was kind of the face that was the most prominent. He had other options that could have been better than her, but you know, he picked her, and he picked her after she trashed him and basically accused him of trying to keep her from integrating in schools. So that's a heck of a pick. And she basically laughed in his face when he was like, oh, you guys, you can't just make executive orders about banning guns. And she's like, you say yes we can, but I say yes we can. And she just laughed and her shoulders start to shake and all that stuff. So so she's this and I'm just gonna be blunt. So she's this whore who, with this past, and people change. She's got her family and stuff. So but I just, didn't rise through popularity in the most sort of tasteful sort of manner. And now she's just out here pushing abortion so hard. And it's as if that's the way that women are empowered, as if that's the way that women are free. And we're just not creating a healthy society that has women that feel that they need this so badly. I can understand if you hear some of these stories about, like, what if you have a miscarriage, or saying that, you can't even get a dead baby out of you. Like, if there's stories like that, which some, by the way, some doctors do want the baby to try to pass naturally before they start doing surgery like that. Um so but I mean, you're gonna have to point to me a law that says no, you cannot take out a already deceased child that's decaying in a woman's womb. You can find me the law and show it to me. um but if you believe the hype and you're concerned, I can understand being concerned about the laws and stuff, but they really are shackling women to this life of degeneracy, and irresponsibility, and the lack of accountability. And in order to do that, they have to make the argument that I think we're gonna. There's still a couple more minutes left with her talk, but I think we're gonna nip that in the bud. Um, it's just not healthy what we're doing to young women. Again, that they feel that they need to have this, but they're teaching women and society that your children don't don't have any rights until they come out of the womb. And if you're willing to say that and advocate for that, my big concern is when the government goes, remember when you told us that? Okay, we'll take you up on your offer. So how deep can this go when you are telling the government that your children shouldn't be protected from violence? because I told you guys how I got back and forth with an ethics professor, and he told me that a story where a woman, her boyfriend tricked her into having an abortion. He gave her some pills, and her baby was early, like, first trimester. He said, well, that wasn't murder because it wasn't someone yet. Is that the world we really want to build, where our children, even if they're wanted, they still aren't protected from violence? You can't really say anyone was killed in that situation. Back when in 2004, when they passed the violent, gosh, what's the name of the law? George Bush signed it in 2004. If you like hurt a woman or something and she's pregnant, you get like charged for both. And that was at a time when Scott Peterson had killed his wife and pregnant an infant child in her womb. And the pro-choice side did not want to legally recognize fetuses because they were concerned about personhood and that impacting abortion. And there's been other situations where the pro-choice lobby did not want fetuses to have any sort of legal protections. So be careful what you advocate for, because what happens when the government takes you up on your offer? What happens one day when all you global warming people just reach the optimal sort of pinnacle of power, and you're just like, we're really having too many kids, and you know what? I don't know how far you people will take it. You're out here having press conferences in the middle of an abortion clinic. I don't know how far it's going to go. I just know it's not good when we just decide that certain human beings don't have rights. We've seen that happen time and time again, and I don't. We've made progress from bad, immoral situations, but we're heading down a darker path, I think. So, like, we had a great feeling, at least when Roe v. Wade was overturned with Dobbs, but we're still seeing a lot of darkness, and I know there's a lot of young people out there trying to fight for good and save the lives of the unborn, but I see a lot of mistakes, and we can talk about those later, but I'm concerned. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. Please go to Black Tea News. Someone said dumb as a rock talking about Kamala Harris. I can't believe how some of her speeches, like the one about the passage of time and stuff. I had a skit in mind for Kamala Harris. I'll have to write that out and perform that. I'll just have to leave you guys in suspense about what that will be. Thank you guys for joining me. Please go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on my website, articles, videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation at the website, because it does cost to stream around my website, all that stuff. So if you can, I appreciate it. Check out different merch that we have, like this cool "I'm Not the Victim You're Looking For" t-shirt. We also have things like this "Denounce White Supremacy, Defeat Joe Biden" shirt with a list of some of the racist stuff on the back. As I said, Kamala Harris was the VP because a lot of Black people got together, like Charlemagne from the Breakfast Club and other folks, and was like, if you want to support, you better pick a Black woman. So there's some of the reasons on that back of that shirt, but there's plenty. There's plenty. And if you guys want to check out any of my books and stuff, you guys can search me on Amazon. I do have my book, of course, God is Blatantly Against Abortion. So it does talk about like theological stuff, but it also does talk about politics and stuff. So some of the stuff that we addressed is in the book, and there's different stats and really good examples and stuff in there. So I ask that you guys check that out, and some of my fiction stuff as well. God bless you guys, and have a great weekend.